Hey, there you are, sports fans. Welcome to season 3 of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. And RPF, somebody said that we would never what?
They said we wouldn't last.
And they said we wouldn't last, but yet here we are, proving all the critics of the entire world wrong. It's been, we took a little hiatus. We took, the Super Bowl ended, and we kind of decompressed, and now we're back. We're picking things up right in the thick of a lot of stuff going on that we're going to sort of dive into. We are, of course, in the thick of March Madness right now. We have the World Baseball Classic that just ended. MLB season's about to start. We have NBA, NHL playoffs, all sorts of stuff going on. But before we dive into that, it has been a little while. So, RPF, my friend, tell me how you been.
I've been good. I've been work. My day job, as they say, is been really intense. But it's been.
You haven't been getting your checks for this?
Yeah, I've been getting. Well, I figured someone was catching them. I just didn't know it was me. Yeah, I know it wasn't me. But we'll change that coming up. Mark my words. It's funny. I was thinking about March Madness and the concept, and it's such a given. It's always every year. March has to be March Madness, right? It's actually this year's more like a March migraine or something. It's not quite, it's just annoying to me. A lot of it has been annoying. Yeah. But we'll talk about all that. But anyway, yeah, I've been missing you, my friend. So it's good. This is season 3, and we have big things planned, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, this is the year for all my teams to win.
This is the year. Mark RPF's words. This is the year.
This is the year.
For what, I'm not sure, but this is it.
This is the year. Make all your dreams come true.
Since we are in the thick of March Madness, why don't we pick up there? Listen. Anyone who listens to the show knows that I'll speak for myself here. I am not a massive basketball follower or fan. I do tend to pick it up a little bit more for like the Final Four, which we are close to. We're close. We'll be there at the end of this weekend. But I do know a couple things. I do know that there's been some really big upsets. There was a 16 seed in round 1, also a 15 seed somewhere way back when. Which was pretty exciting, but now we are we're in the Sweet 16. We're getting into the Elite 8 going into Saturday, Sunday. Is that correct?
Correct. In fact, tonight the first of the final 8 start playing each other. But before that, Gonzaga. Is that how you say it?
Okay.
I want to say it, Gonzaga. Anyway, Gonzaga.
Ooh, I like that better. Let's go with that.
Gonzaga sounds like a villain in some sort of Marvel movie. Okay, Gonzaga against Ant-Man. Anyway, is Ant-Man no? He's an Avenger.
He's Marvel. He's Marvel.
Okay. Anyway, yep. I'm sorry. I'm not what's it called, a geek, so I don't know any of those things exactly. As my brother will give you a dissertation on the history of Marvel. Anyway, but yes. Gonzaga, as I call him now,
Gonzaga once
again made UCLA weep into their couture Beverly Hills towels because they beat them in such a painstaking way. Okay, get this. UCLA, it's been back and forth. This whole game was actually a good game. College basketball for me is a lot of they have more time to shoot. They have easier shots to shoot. They miss more shots than the NBA. So it's a little bit of that, Anyway, and they're down by 11 points. They never come back. 11 points is 70 in the NBA. Okay, so anyway, so Gonzaga, but they're a tight game, back and forth, 5 or 6 lead changes, and then sure enough, with 13 seconds left, UCLA scores a healthy 3-pointer. Meaning healthy, meaning pretty further back from the line, but they scored a 3-pointer, so they're up by 2 points or something, and they have 7 seconds left. So of course, Gonzaga, being a Cinderella team of yore, decides to become one again. And the guy who dribbles the ball down the court spots a guy behind him, his teammate who's open, but the guy's by the logo, by the half court. So he launches the shot from half court, essentially, from the NCAA Sweet 16 logo.
Okay.
And it swishes right in. The place goes crazy. Gonzaga beats UCLA again. But UCLA once again is heartbroken. So anyway, so that to me was the first real March Madness warm up for the Final 8, aka the Final Four. So anyway, so that's kind of like the table setter for the Final Four coming up. The other thing that I've been watching with my corner of my eye, because I've been a longstanding, and I attended Tulane University, but I grew up in Miami, so the University of Miami, the U, for football and baseball primarily have been really, really excelling in tennis, but in major sports in college. Basketball, they've always been okay, like NIT-ish type of team, but this year they've been kind of like, the past few years, but this year they kind of put it all pieces together. They had a minor upset in the Sweet 16. Now they're up in the top 8, which they haven't done, I don't believe, in the college in their whole history. They're up against the top seed Houston tonight, actually. So I'm going to keep an eyeball peeled on that one for tonight.
Okay.
But otherwise, like you, I'm a Final Four guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll go further. I'm in the second half of the game of the Final Four to see if I have whom I have to look out for on the Monday night game.
Right.
I'm like second. First half is like whatever. Get me past the commentary in the halftime show, and then I'm there for 45 minutes, committed to this game.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. I mean, I'm almost, admittedly, I'm almost like a second half of the championship game kind of fan.
I almost want to go on Twitter and see what's happening during the game to see if it's worth even turning on. But people who know me know I rarely watch sports. I mean, only the Dolphins live because I'm just too nervous of a spectator. In the Final Four, I watch live. I don't ultimately care who wins, but it's just interesting to watch. But I DVR all the matches, all the games, all the basketball games, baseball games, hockey, everything I'm watching. It's DVR in tennis, so I can go back and and calibrate my experience, curate my experience.
Right.
Bad stuff, fast forward. Good stuff, slow and slow down.
So I'm looking at the bracket here, and just to try to get a sense of kind of and recap what's going on. And you know what, for the most part, it's you got a 1 seed versus a 5 seed, a 3 versus a 2, an 8 versus a 4. 8's kind of cool, snuck in there. So my point is, you got a lot of higher seeds, and even Gonzaga, I can't label them a Cinderella story this year because they're a 3 seed. So
they started that way like years ago. They were the
I remember. But I am seeing a Princeton, a 15 seed Princeton in here who has gone through 2 seed Arizona and 7 seed Missouri, and now
Princeton
up against 6 seed.
It's the talk of the tournament.
Yeah,
which
sure.
By the way, fun fact, would have been my alma mater if I actually accepted their offer to attend their school.
Oh yeah! Oh wow!
Yeah, I was going to be.
Oh, look at me!
the same class as Brooke Shields. For those people who don't know her, Google her as always.
And it looks like we got a 9 seed. FAU was at Florida Atlantic, I think. Florida Atlantic.
Exactly, and they're a big team in South Florida, and everyone's excited about them as well. So it's
they've gone through.
But who?
Hang on. They're the team. They're the team that got the second round. They got the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson because Fairleigh beat Purdue. So in the second round, they got Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic got to the third round because they got to play the 16 seed in the second round.
You know who's not excited about the March Madness? Us. So let's move on.
You want to move on?
I'm not starting season 3 with this friggin' thing. Okay, I'm done.
All right.
Tune in on Final Four.
Next week we'll go a little bit deeper when we're down to our 4 teams.
Okay. All right, maybe. All right, maybe. All right, I'm bored. I'm bored with
asterisks.
that.
With asterisks.
I have veto power over that discussion.
Okay. Okay. Hey, let's go
talk baseball.
Yes, I was just going to go there. Let's go World
Which, by the way,
Baseball
something
Classic.
we haven't done in a while, in the sense that we're excited about the same baseball, which is amazing. Take it away.
So the World Baseball Classic concluded this past Wednesday, and I'm almost speechless. Like it was phenomenal baseball. As a former player, I've never really been impressed with like the product of baseball and watching baseball. It's like it's a snooze fest to me a lot of the time. Even playoffs is like, but the World Baseball Classic,
playoffs have better graphics on TV.
right.
Like it's more bells and whistles.
The World Baseball Classic has been phenomenal, and like I have found myself like encapsulated, like glued to the TV. Like it's been really, really awesome. For those that don't know, Japan won. They won the whole thing. They beat the U.S. in the championship game. But I mean, even aside from the championship game, the games before that, the semifinals and the quarterfinals, I mean, it was just unbelievable.
And the drama that was built in to those games in those countries. It is, remember, it's like the World Cup. It's country by country, and it's these unexpected major league players from all over the world. In the U.S., obviously Japan and different countries, all play for the teams that they're of their heritage. I mentioned last week, like I mentioned to Jonah before, Xander Bogaerts, former Red Sox, fantastic future Hall of Famer shortstop, is playing for Curaçao, which in fact plays for the Netherlands, right, or something. It's completely people who play from Curaçao are now also legally allowed to play for the Dutch team. So I'm like, Xander Bogaerts doesn't strike me as a clog-wearing, tulip-smelling, windmill-watching guy, But sure enough, here he is playing for the Netherlands, playing fantastically well. So, and it's Mookie Betts for America and Mike Trout, and then you have Ohtani, of course, for Japan, and it's like this. And then my up-and-coming favorite rookie player for the Red Sox, Duran, playing for Mexico, and I didn't know he was like blonde, blue-eyed surfer dude, and now he's like a Mexican guy. It's like, so it's all this stuff is to make this so interesting, right?
That's very interesting. Yeah, and it's just it comes down to heritage. Like the center fielder for Japan, Lars Nootbaar, right? That doesn't sound very Japanese, but his mom, his mother is Japanese. So yeah, you get these really cool
backstories.
These backstories and coming together, and you kind of glossed right over. You threw him into with a pile of a bunch of other players, and I don't know that we should do that. Shohei Ohtani.
Ohtani and Trout. Those 5 minutes of baseball should be in a time capsule. The most what baseball's about.
Yes.
For the last out for the championship game.
But Shohei Ohtani himself.
Yeah.
I should have saved his stats so that I could regurgitate them on the show here.
Ridiculous.
But his stats for the Classic were unbelievable. My favorite one, however, my favorite stat that I saw was, so as we all know, they've been measuring pitch velocity for a long time, but now a big thing is they measure the exit velocity of the batted ball, right? The hardest hit ball and the hardest thrown ball in the entire tournament were by the same person.
For those who don't know, who live under a rock, Ohtani is the only player in baseball in my lifetime that is not only a pitcher and a batter. He's the best of both. It's like, arguably,
he's
arguably
he's arguably the best of both of them.
Right.
And what's interesting? I didn't realize
becoming
this
a free agent,
I wasn't.
By the way.
Yeah. But what's interesting, which I didn't realize because I wasn't alive in 1918. But
wait, are you
on the broadcast,
well,
everyone compares him to Babe Ruth, right? But on the broadcast, I think it was John Smoltz who brought up that like Babe Ruth only hit and pitched for like 2 years.
He stopped pitching when he went to the Yankees, when he was traded.
Yeah, like he was like, his career wasn't hitting and pitching. His career was basically hitting. He pitched for 2 years
and eating all you can eat pasta bowls. By the way,
a lot of hot dogs.
A lot of hot dogs. Yankee dogs. A lot of Yankee dogs. No, but yeah. Anyway, but I was saying, I was building up to the last game. Well, in semifinals, they were fantastic games, right? It was like U.S. against Cuba, and the host in the last part of the series was in Miami. And for those who don't know geopolitics, there's not podcast for it, but most of the ex-Cubans who fled communist Castro's Cuba live in Miami or live in and around Miami. So therefore, Cuba, which is the national team of Cuba, you would think the Cubans would be behind it, but in fact, the team is used as a propaganda tool for the communist government. Therefore, you saw all these old Cubans, like 90, 60, 70-year-old Cubans with like, go USA, because they wanted to defeat the machinery of destruction, basically, the communist government. Yeah. And the baseball players really are, caught in the middle. They're just playing baseball. But so I felt a little bad for them because, in fact, but then we kicked their ass. It's like 14-2 or something. Then you have Mexico playing Japan in the other semifinal. And Mexico is not known for baseball. Mexico is known for like tacos. I mean, they don't even play anything well. I mean, soccer maybe, but it's like they don't like bullfighting. They don't do anything well. And bullfighting they borrow from Spain. So the point is that Mexican, all of a sudden, is in the semifinals against Japan. It was like the game was like nail biter. It was great.
It was so great.
The walk off. I mean, I think it was a walk off.
Yeah, it was. They were winning. They were up like 4-1 or something going into the seventh. There, I forget the exacts of it, but they were winning. I actually shut that game off and went to bed because I was like, holy crap! I was like, Mexico's gonna win. But and then I woke up and I was like, damn it, because I missed
that's
it.
Why
not because I didn't want.
That's why you DVR
your
sports. You have to DVR your sports.
Yeah, but obviously not because I didn't want Japan to win, but I was pissed because I went to bed and missed this. Obviously, so then I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch the replays. And then you're watching the replays, and you're even more mad at yourself for going to bed.
Stadium's going crazy because, of course, again, all the Latin Americans in the stands in Miami are like, oh my god, they brought
So another one of my favorite clips from this whole tournament was. I came across it on Instagram, but it's the actual crowd noise. There's no announcers, no nothing. It's the microphones from the stadium. It's the actual crowd noise of when I don't know his name. I'm sorry, but the game-winning hit for Japan when he hits it, and the stadium. Like, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now because you hear like he's at bat and you hear the overall drum of just like crowd noise like, and then he hits it. It's like crack of the bat, and it just decibels were through the roof.
Did you hear that? I heard this.
I played it. Hang on, real quick. I played it for my 11-year-old daughter, and she was like you could see in her face like she was in awe of like this, like she didn't understand the noise that was happening.
It would have been more meta if you had like sushi rolls in front of her or something to kind of inspire. But I was saying that I heard that on Twitter. I think Twitter or YouTube or something. I heard the Japanese announcers in Japan.
Oh my gosh, it's so great!
It's so great. It was my second favorite ever in the different language. Like besides, of course, my soccer la bola mega goal. The Spanish goal thing. But in Japanese, announcing baseball, they were amazing. Literally bawling, crying. It was like announcers were like it was like our parents or something. It was unbelievable.
This was actually one of my favorite activities when I played. So I played in Japan. I played for the Saitama Seibu Lions. And
you never played for the Japanese national team, or did you?
No, I wouldn't be allowed to. But one of my favorite.
Were you the tallest person in Japan at the time?
One of my favorite activities of all time when I was playing there was to listen to the broadcast of the games because I was so enthralled by this. And what I loved about it, what sets it apart for me from like the Spanish soccer announcers is that it's obviously they're so passionate about the game and the language is so different to me, but the game itself is American, so all the terms are still in English. Yeah. So they're like, you're sitting there watching like home run.
That was very good, by the way. It felt like a Godzilla movie all of a sudden. But it was very, very good.
And they get so excited and they get lost, and then you'll just hear like a first base.
Yeah. No, they said there's something, the Cebu Lions or something.
Yeah. That's what I played for.
Really?
Yeah. Seibu Lions. Saitama Seibu Lions. But anyway.
So were you the tallest person in Japan?
No. They have basketball teams.
Oh, well, there's like 7 people. Sorry. Besides 7 people who play professional basketball, you were the tallest person in Japan. Okay. Then I'm at 5'9". I was the tallest person in Mexico City that I could tell. Just to let you know.
So here's my question. As I watched this, and I found myself so enraptured. Thank you. That's a great one. Do you do words for a living? Like, and I found myself so enraptured by the events and the games and everything that was going on. I started to feel sad that I didn't feel this way for Major League Baseball, and I started to like try to figure out, I should say. Like, how does Major League Baseball fix their problem? And meaning, my opinion, their problem of just like, it's just boring. It's just, And I think what it boils down to, you can obviously throw your 2 cents in, but I think what it boils down to is that there's just so many games that the game, like opening day is like a week away, I think. Opening day is going to happen, and everyone's going to be excited because it's the first game of the year. But then the second game of the year, that game means nothing. That game means absolutely nothing.
Well,
like other than the players like wanting to get off to a good start, like if the team loses, they're like,
that's hence the term "dog days of summer" because those, there's double headers every Sunday, and then like you're playing in these like sweltering heat, and you're thinking, just get me to September. That's when the game really matters.
get this over with.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from baseball. There's lots to talk about. So
Well, hang on. I had an idea to how to fix this.
Oh, here's the point. They are trying to address it in some ways. I mean, they're doing something. They're kind of making the game shorter with the clock and the pitcher. The guy on second base and for extra innings, and you have the guy pitcher can't throw to first base after 2 times. So it's going to be less horrifying, but it's still going to be slow.
But that's not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that the players don't care. So as a fan, when you're watching the game, what captivated me during this whole process was like, you can see these guys that are playing. You can see the emotion in them. And it's the same thing you see like during a World Series, like the best of 7 series in the World Series. Like
I have an idea.
But so to me, it's, yes, I do think the pitch clock will help. I do. I know a lot of my old teammates that, people that I played with are like, oh my God, this is awful. You're ruining the game. I love it. I've been watching spring training highlights, and I absolutely love it. Now, some of it's gone a little too far. Like guys are getting punched out on, because they're not in the box, and so, like umpires, like come on, like give them a little bit of leeway. Like this.
Look, the umpires are trying not to be replaced by robots, so they're doing everything they can to make themselves relevant.
It's true. But I do love it. Like I love the fact that it's just like ball back, get on the mound, boom, throw it again. Ball back, get on the mound, throw it again. Like there's none of this.
I just had the idea to save baseball. I just had it.
Have you seen these? Okay, 1 second. Have you seen these side by sides on Instagram where it's like this guy struck out 3 batters in the time that it took this guy to throw like 2 pitches?
Right. No, exactly. I mean, that's if I never see any pitcher hold that rosin bag again, I'll be through. Okay, that's just
Yes.
And the spitting from the batters, it's enough. Okay. So my solution to solving the issue of baseball players caring about everything.
Yep.
The root is the same thing with politicians. They can say whatever they want on anything. It's about money. Okay. Follow the money. You incentivize every contract for every player as a team. If you make this threshold, you will get your full payment of this. If you make this threshold, you get 80% of what your contract says. And all of a sudden, every game matters, every pitch matters, every bat matters. Because in fact, if you get over 300, you get this. There's already some of that individual stuff. Let's get it as a team, and let's see what happens. That's how games matter. I just solved the problem. I just solved baseball.
No, you didn't.
I mean, I made it more cynical, but it's ultimately going to be more interesting baseball.
But here's the problem: is that you can't because of the players' union. They'll just go on strike.
It could be better baseball if they're on strike. It could be like a scrappy.
The problem is it won't be. So I mean, I agree with you. I think the contract should be incentivized. I've thought that for even when I was playing.
No, but as a team, it's never been incentivized as a team. That's my point.
Sure. But even if you incentivize the team, you've got your superstar that's making, over 200 million. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't care if the team.
No. Besides Bryce Harper, everyone else, I think, will be much more attuned to. I don't think Mookie Betts wouldn't care. I don't think that's true. I don't think Ohtani wouldn't care. I don't think Mike Trout wouldn't care. I mean, I think it's a matter of they're still playing a game that's fun and they want to win. I mean, most 95% of the players or more are in that category. I think.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to make it more fun for themselves either. So, okay.
So here was my crazy idea. If you'll allow me to get crazy just for a second, here was my crazy idea. What if you took the 6 months that the season is, and each month was its own round robin? And then the seedings, the winners from those round robins each month determine the playoffs. So let's say, for example, you take you take the NL East and the NL West, and for a month they're going to play each other in a round robin style tournament. So you play. There's your team. There's 9 other teams. There's going to be, so you'll play each team 3 times. That's 27 games in the month. And then at the end of the month, you have basically a round robin pool, like they do in the first round of the World Baseball Classic. Mm-hmm. And then you can use however it shakes out. Obviously, there's more logistics to it, but however it shakes out, the winners from April, May, June, July, August, and September all go to the playoffs. If there's repeat winners, you can trickle it down so that you can fill in your playoff bracket. And then at the end of each month, your record, not your stats, not individual player stats, but your team record gets wiped out and goes to 0.
I like this idea. I mean, I'm surprised to see you say it because you haven't had a good idea in decades.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it, Richard.
Wait, am I having a stroke? Did he say something that actually is not only game-changing, innovative, and plausible? I think you have, my friend. Wow.
Yeah. So I
love this idea. It makes it mini tournaments. It makes it
little mini tournaments, and you can shake it out. And then I started thinking about this. I was like, because I started liking it too, and I was like, oh, how would this actually work? And then you can save. So you do for 5 months, you've got 6 divisions, right? So you're gonna do. Let's say we're the AL East, okay, mm-hmm. And we're gonna start by playing the AL Central, and then the AL West, and then NL East, West, and Central. Mm-hmm. And then you can save the AL East for the end of the season.
So you have the biggest rivals at the end.
The biggest rivalries
really matter to get in or not.
In September. So basically, in September, every division is playing within itself.
I got it. I love it. We should this is trademark, by the way, in case anyone has the idea to steal my brilliant idea I had with Jonah. Mine was just giving people more money. You're just like, no, let's fundamentally alter the ecosystem of sports. But that inspired you because of the World Baseball Classic. How great that was.
It did. 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This 100%. Is good. Okay. We have lots of sports to talk about.
Okay. There's more. All right. There's more.
Where do you want to go?
What else we got?
What?
I'm going to let you decide for the next one.
Okay. Quickly, tennis. Carlos Alcaraz.
Let you decide the next one. I was going to gravitate towards football, but that's
football's going to be a chunky one. But quickly, tennis. The world of tennis is back to being normal, meaning Djokovic is banned for his status of being bonehead and stupid, and he's banned from the U.S. still for not being vaxxed and being the only 500 players, the only player who's not vaccinated. Carlos Alcaraz has recovered full circle from his injury. He won 2 out of 3 tournaments he's in, including the huge tournament just now, Indian Wells in California by Palm Springs. And he's back to being number 1 player in the world. He's currently playing right now in a huge tournament in Miami, which is Indian Wells and Miami are the 2 tournaments that are the biggest tournaments outside the Grand Slam tournament. So it's a big tournament. So he's favored to win because Djokovic is not there anymore. But Rafa is now fully healed. He's going to be playing in the clay court season, starts in 2 weeks. And that's, we know about Rafa, Nadal, and clay courts. So it's going to be a very, very fun tennis. The 3 of them, Djokovic, Rafa in full flight, and Djokovic pissed off he hasn't been playing, and Carlos playing unbelievably well. So it's going to be really fun to watch in the next couple of months. Then we have, let's move on to quickly basketball, NBA. Miami Heat went from number 8 to number 7 to number 6. Now they're out of that dreaded play-in-your-in playoff format that the NBA does for the numbers seeds 7 through 10. They play each other one game, and then the winners play to get into the rounds of playoff. Anyway, right now we're number 6. Last year, if you remember, we were the top seed, and we were a 3-point shot away from going to the finals and beating them and winning the finals. But anyway, the Heat is getting, finally, after all these injuries, they're getting their mojo back, and they've been on a roll. They beat the Knicks, which are the team 2 above them. So anyway, it's all good. Moving in the right direction there. I'm talking fast because I want to get to football.
Okay.
I want to check off all the things.
Where do we? So hang on. Where
sorry.
did you just say? Where do we stand on in NBA? Are we? How close to the
Oh,
playoffs are we?
we're only like 9 games away, or like 8 games away.
Okay.
So there's
All right.
only one more week, really. Like this weekend and next week, and then we'll be in the playoffs. So it's coming down the funnel fast. So Miami seems to be peaking and getting healthy at exactly the time they need, at the last possible moment they could have. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's get to last thing I'll mention, which is reflective of the current division in the country, and and the whole thing, how sports somehow gets involved in it at times. This whole month this whole 2 week period for the NHL, it's Pride Month. It's Pride time when all the teams play with their Pride jerseys on, and Pride meaning the LGBTQ plus community. They've been doing this for many years now, for more than a decade. And this year, for the first time, some players and a couple teams have refused or rejected the idea of playing with a Pride jersey, including just last night, two of my favorite players, Mark and Eric Stell from the Florida Panthers, and they just, citing their Christian values, they don't want to play with the Pride. So it's a little bit in Florida, with the governor there making all this stuff, making it front and center. It's going to be, it's just, it's politics are infringing very much into American politics. I mean, into American sports, which usually it takes on international flavor for Olympics and FIFA and stuff. But this is now kind of injecting itself into when things aren't controversial, like football players wear pink for breast cancer. Now, someone's going to say, well, my religion doesn't allow for intervention in disease, therefore I'm not going to wear a pink shoe for breast cancer. Anyway, it's a slippery slope, and so anyway, I just want to. I'm not even opining about it. I'm just saying it's happening. It's the real politics are incrementally infringing upon the beauty and purity of sports, in my opinion. All right, so that's that. Let's talk football. The AFC Beast, with a B, Beast. I don't think there's a division in football. Last year we thought maybe it could be, but the Jets were still the Jets. This year, as of this podcast, Aaron Rodgers is still not a Jet, but he's made it expressly clear he definitely wants to be a Jet. So this year, 2023, could be the year that the entire AFC East goes to the playoffs. Bold prediction. No. You're saying which team? Are you saying that your own Patriots are the weak link here?
Patriots and Jets.
It's interesting you said that. I think the Patriots might be better than the Jets, with or without.
I don't. Well, first of all, I don't think the Jets are going to get Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that's a headline. They're trying to do everything. They exposed their ass already. I mean, they're like, what are they going to do? They don't have any quarterbacks left that they can get, really, except for Lamar Jackson.
I mean, well, let me put it this way. If Green Bay has any intellect whatsoever, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet. And it has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. It has to do with what Green Bay would want from the Jets.
Have to offer them, yeah.
Yes. I think it's rightfully so. I think.
Does Aaron have a no trade clause thing that can he veto a trade? Do you know?
I don't know why he would want to.
No, not to the Jets. Like if the Packers got a better deal from the Falcons or something, or from Houston.
I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know, but I just don't. I don't think, basically what. Or let me put it this way, or maybe they do make the trade, but they're going to have to give, so what excites all the Jets fans about getting Aaron Rodgers is like, oh my God, we're going to have Aaron Rodgers and, their young guys, Wilson, man, I don't hardly know their names yet. But they have,
the two receivers.
Ball, the running back, and, they're like, they have great weapons, and they're going to like, oh, we're going to have Aaron Rodgers and all these weapons. And like, you might not have those weapons because they might have to get rid of them to get Aaron Rodgers
because they don't have enough draft picks to give away.
So I guess my main point is I'm pumping the brakes on this whole Aaron Rodgers to the Jets story until
breaking news. Aaron Rodgers just signed with the Jets. Given our track record of being accurate,
of course, right, of course, and then they're going to go undefeated.
Exactly. And we'll be on the record saying, I never said that. I never said that. I thought they were great.
Never happened.
What you're saying is Aaron Rodgers may get lost from his cabin in the woods doing his manifesto, going to Manhattan. By the way,
Um,
you want to see a fan base turn on somebody after Aaron Rodgers loses 2 in a row in Manhattan
oh yeah,
with that type of attitude he has, which is so
yes,
charming.
that would be very fun to watch.
It would be very fun to watch.
That would
But
be,
I will talk Dolphins. I know it's shocking to you, but let me
yeah,
know when we're ready for that.
Sure, go ahead.
You know, past year and a half or so, I've been all about the offense, of course. You know, how could you not be with Tyreek Hill and Waddle and Tua and being healthy and everyone, including Mike Gesicki, which is the tight end that lamentably just, I'm very sad to say, is now part of the Patriots in the free agency.
Yeah, you can have me back.
But on the exciting part for me is, for once, the defense. The defense is looking mighty, mighty. We got a superstar pickup. Even you, Mr. Cynic, have to admit, getting Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback from the Rams, onto that defense with Xavier Howard on the other side and Javon Holland as a safety. It's a pretty impressive secondary. Couple that with Phillips, Chubb, and Wilkins up front. I'm very happy with this defense. And Maggio, is that his name? Vince Maggio, what's his name? The defensive guru coach that we just signed with Miami, the defensive coordinator. Fangio, thank you. I'm thinking of my old friend Fitz Fangio.
Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Thinking of your old friend Joe DiMaggio.
No, Vincent Maggio. Anyway, the point is that the defensive coach is a legend for picking up these pieces. Oh, and we even picked up people like a linebacker, David Long, that from Denver, that used to play with Fangio. We have a great pickup, a solid QB2 in Mike White. The only shining moment for the Jets this past year in quarterback was when Mike White started at quarterback. Now he's our Teddy Bridgewater, RIP, is no longer part of my my brain disorder. But and then I told you we got the punter from the Patriots, which was a Pro Bowler for a few years, Jake Bailey. But most importantly, in most under the radar pickup that Dolphins did was a Jet who went to the University of Miami, and he's Cuban, Braxton Berrios. And Braxton Berrios was a star at the U, and he became like he's a kick returner, punt returner, and a slot wide receiver for third downs. He could potentially be the Wayne Chrebet type guy, which, by the way, is our coach for the receivers. He could be that type of like Edelman type player. He is just.
That's exactly why we drafted him, but he didn't turn out to be that.
Okay, but Big Papi was also not a good player in Minnesota. And became Big Papi in Boston.
Yeah, no, so,
I think Barry's also being Cuban in Miami, being a Dolphins fan his whole life. It makes a difference to some people. So
I'm saying. By
the way, we need a punt returner and a kick returner, and now we have a guy who's not scared of throwing his body around and getting shit done. So I just love it. He's like the Dustin Pedroia type guy. He's the
sloppy thirds of the AFC East.
Wow, here we go. Okay, not too bitter. It's okay, just because the Pats are going to be a very solid 9-8 again this year. Actually, you probably 9-8. Is that right? Yeah, 17. I'm doing my math in my head. All right, listen. So I think the Dolphins. I mean, just early days, of course, but as we head into the training camps for the early check-ins, it's the attitude around that. And we picked up Tua's fifth-year option, which is a big deal, earlier than any other player that had a fifth-year option on the table. So that tells you the commitment the Dolphins have to keeping QB1 and not going after this nonsense of constant rumor mill of every quarterback on the market. Miami wants them, So I'm very happy to know that they have made the commitment to helping that young man achieve everything he can once he's healthy and upright. So anyway, that's my Dolphin report.
That was fun.
Okay, you can pretend to be enjoying my optimism at this point. Okay, so
I got some fun headlines here.
Tell me, let's talk headlines.
I got some fun headlines, and when I say fun, I do mean fun, because I have not clicked on them. I have no idea what's in them.
Well, that's how most of American voters are. Go ahead.
Here's one. NFL warns clubs about uncertified person attempting to act as Lamar Jackson's agent.
Oh yeah, I saw this. I read this yesterday. This guy is calling all the teams, and people, and half the teams are taking their call. And meanwhile, it's like,
fantastic.
he's calling like the Cleveland Browns and saying, "Hey, listen, I can get if you
man.
give me a 6th-round pick in 2027, I'll give you Lamar Jackson."
Oh, that is
at least
utterly
undisclosed. At least 2 teams took the call and was like in negotiations with this person. Is this the best prank ever? Doesn't it strike you as a big prank, as like a tremendous prank?
It's like I can just picture like picture like Lamar Jackson and like one of his buddies and going to his buddy and be like, "Hey, jump on the phone and figure out like what kind of market's out there for me."
Call Minnesota Vikings and offer them like a 3rd-round choice pick and see what happens. It's pretty funny. I mean, it's pretty funny.
Great. There was another one on here.
I love these headlines to be saying,
well, here's
not
a great
the onion.
one. Here's a great one. NFL reportedly considering flex scheduling for Thursday night football.
Did we not see enough of the friggin' Broncos the first half of the year last year? Remember? It was every game.
That's why they're considering it.
Yeah.
That's exactly why they're bringing this up. If I'm reading this correctly, they're saying flex scheduling. So, like, we're going to put actual good games on there.
No, exactly. No, first of all, Amazon was pissed because all their games ended up being duds,
They were awful.
They were awful. Yeah, they were awful. The best game they had, I think, was the one that, unfortunately, that didn't play. The Patriots and the Bengals and the Bills. Wasn't that on Amazon?
Here you go. You got disgruntled wide receiver Elijah Moore traded from the Jets to the Browns for a package of draft picks. There's your capital to go get Aaron Rodgers.
No, so I'm saying that. So I'll tell you, the Jets are making moves enough to get enough draft picks in order to get Rodgers. Meanwhile, they're going to deplete their team, to your point, to the point where they don't have anyone for Rodgers to approach it. They're going to have Braxton Berrios say, "Oh no, we traded him too. That's why they got rid of Braxton Berrios, because they needed more draft picks from Miami to sweeten the deal for Aaron Rodgers.
Free agent tight end Foster Moreau learns he has cancer during routine physical.
Oh no,
that's awful.
Where does he play for?
Foster Moreau he's a free agent now, but he was a Raider.
Oh God, it's terrible.
That is awful.
Well, but that might have saved his life. That physical.
Sure, of course, yeah, absolutely.
Jets
are back in the headlines. Ezekiel Elliott report followed quickly by cryptic, dismissive tweets from Jets running backs. Ooh,
meaning that there's a rumor that Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, by the way, so what do you think of this?
Saucy.
You want to hear the latest rumor? I think I told you before. The latest rumor is that Derrick Henry wants to go to Miami. Wouldn't that be something?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Okay, you always say that, and then I have to show you headlines. And then you're like, "Oh, whatever. It's only ESPN. It's not credible."
All right, listen. Admittedly, RPF. Fine. Admittedly, if Derrick Henry goes to the Dolphins.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, I think if Derrick Henry goes to the Dolphins, we're going to cancel this podcast.
or change it, or change to one host.
Sports, of course, with RPF.
NFL Network. Dolphins trade
listen,
to send Derrick Henry to Miami seems plausible. Experts agree. So. He wants to go. He wants to go. Look, listen, that's how we ended up with what's his face, with Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey insisted on Miami. I don't know if you read that part of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's smart on his part. Listen, the
Dolphins,
South when they're put together, they are a defense away from being exceptional.
Imagine Tua having Derrick Henry.
Their offense was really good
to give the ball to 22 times a game. And we signed, by the way, all our all the current backs. We signed them again, all our running backs, so they can be jetting in and out while we have Derrick Henry, the bull, in there. It'd be so ridiculous. It'd be like I can't even think about it. It's so great. And I hope we don't get Elliott. Elliott is not the right fit for us. And I think I think he'd be a better Jet, frankly. But they can't get him because the Jets need all the draft picks for Aaron Rodgers.
So, sorry, I'm diving into this Ezekiel Elliott. So is he a free agent right now, Elliott?
Yeah. Well, he's a free agent. Yeah, because
he says.
I think they made it clear that they want to deal with him. If he's not a free agent, then the team wants to get rid of him.
Not long after news broke that former Dallas Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott had narrowed his choices.
To what teams?
Anyway, he had narrowed his choices to the Jets, the Eagles, and the Bengals. right after that, all the Jets running backs were tweeting like this one. Breece Hall tweeted, "I think we good over here."
He should go to the Eagles. He should go to the Eagles. Keep him away from us.
Zeke Elliott to the Eagles. I mean, that'd be if you want to stick it to the Cowboys, that'd be fun.
Well, I know that's why I hate when my Dolphins that I love so much go to the Jets or Patriots. It's such a stab in the heart. Oh, the Bills for some reason bother me less. The Bills are so awful, anyways. I can stand the Bills, but when the Jets and Patriots, which I don't literally hate, I just think I wish them well if they're not playing, if we're not involved, you know. But I find it. I take it personally when it's like when the Red Sox players go to Yankees, like when Johnny Damon and all the other players that went to Wade Boggs and all these players went to.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite Johnny Damon T-shirt. When he got traded to the Yankees, there was a Boston made a T-shirt, and it said, "Oh man, I'm gonna get it wrong." Looks like Jesus, throws like Mary, and acts like Judas.
He did throw like Mary.
Yeah, but he had such a bad arm.
You know what happened was the noodle arm is the worst thing ever. But also the other center fielder, a generation later, did the same thing. He was a great player from
Jacoby Ellsbury.
Jacoby Ellsbury, who he became nothing in New York. He became he was Jacoby Ellsbury in Boston. And the same thing happened when Damon had to shave his beard. Remember, because Steinbrenner had a rule with no beards and whatever, no long hair. So he became like looks like Jesus. He was completely like Hercules. He had like Samson. He had no power with his hair cut off. That's Samson, right? Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe that was. If I have my mythology correct, I believe that was Samson. All right, I think that's going to put a bow on episode number 1 for us here today. Do you have anything else, Richard?
No, I think it's good. I think this is going to be our next one. We'll be able to put a bow on March Madness until next year, and then as we turn the corner, like you said, to the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and then of course the camps opening up for baseball. I mean the baseball season opening and football camp opening. Right. It's all going to be exciting, and tennis is heating up big time. So it's all good.
Yeah, it'll be the Super Bowl before we know it.
AFC Beast, baby. Aaron Rodgers, where are you? Come out of your cabin.
Well, hey, listen, we made it to season 3. They said we wouldn't last, but yet we're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can listen to us everywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple, Spotify, Podbean. You can also find us socially over on Instagram and Twitter, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. Just head to any of those platforms and in the search bar, type in Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF, and we'll pop right up.
Don't forget to hit like listening and subscribe. I'm trying to interrupt.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Hit like,
subscribe. Throw some comments in there.
Tell your friends.
Down.
Post our podcast on social media.
Send it to your friends. Yes. Grab a bottle of wine, sit down, listen to the back catalog. Do what you gotta do.
The back catalog, yeah. Yeah, all our predictions were so great.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.